Hello my Stitchy friends, I'm Macy and this is the crafty magic of Macy. I am so excited to see you guys here as I film my next Flosstube episode. I have been so eagerly anticipating filming this video because I have so much Stitchy progress to show with you, as well as a huge haul from the Still City Stitchers retreat and even just more little bonus content from that retreat. If you are new here, welcome. I'm so glad to meet you. I would love for you to stick around and leave me a comment below as to what you're currently stitching on. And if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe and like this video because it really helps me out a lot. And I would just love to be able to connect with even more stitchers like you. So definitely let me know what you're stitching on. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into my April wrap up, my April Flosstube, because everything I'm about to show you is what I stitched in the month of April. The first project that I really made a priority piece in the month of April, which should be no surprise if you watch my prior Flosstube, and that is Nativity Tiny Town by Heart and Hand. This I stitched on a 14 count Mystic Gray Aida by Zweigart, and I have to say this Aida is very versatile. Even since finishing this, you'll see that I used it for my next finish right after this, but this fabric, I really like it. It's kind of like a bluish gray, which I feel like isn't really being picked up on camera super well. But this stitch I am super excited to be done with. I really didn't want to work on it too much after Christmas, but seeing as I was having fun with it, it's kind of an easy stitch. I'm glad I made it through, finished it up. It really wasn't a super long stitch. I have to say these tiny towns stitch up pretty quickly, but I will say those buildings are dense. Like, I thought they'd be a lot faster to stitch since it's a lot of block stitching, but definitely can take some time. But here's what my finish looks like. I have to say I'm absolutely obsessed with the tiny towns, and I definitely plan to stitch another one soon. I already own the Halloween tiny town and I definitely cannot wait to start that one. And it's like my goal now to stitch a tiny town like extra tiny. I know some people stitch them on like 40 count or even like sometimes even like 52 count and they're super tiny and cute, but this one on 14 count, it's a good size. This is exactly what I wanted for this pattern, but I am excited to go a little bit tinier with my next tiny town. But super excited to have this done. I worked on this probably for most of the first day of the Still City Stitchers retreat because, like I said in my last Flosstube, I wanted this done. I was so close to a finish and I'm so glad it's finally complete. My next finish is actually a start and finish that was completely unexpected, even to myself. I didn't expect to start this and I didn't expect to finish this in April, but I did it and I could not be happier with this project. So I'm kind of happy because not the last Flosstube, but I believe it was my first Flosstube episode, I also had a start and finish. So 2026 might be the year for me to like start some smaller projects and get them done pretty quickly. But without further ado, this project is called Be Nice by Primrose Cottage Stitches. And it's super cute. This is the other piece that I used on that Mystic Gray Aida 14 count by Zweigart. Super excited with this project. I have to say I started this very unexpectedly right after the Still City Stitchers retreat, because if you haven't been to the Still City Stitchers retreat before, they have this awesome raffle where kind of everybody's like on the same page because you just get the raffle tickets free, so you don't have to pay to participate. There were some for donation for animal shelters this year as well for other grand prizes, but in prior years the raffles were all just kind of even playing field. We all got the same amount of tickets. And actually, not this past retreat, this past April, but the one right before that in 2025, I actually won the grand prize basket, which was a bee-themed raffle basket, and it was packed full of bee-themed patterns, fabrics, DMC to kit up the projects, and other flosses. It was really incredible. I was so unbelievably grateful when I won that raffle basket, but I have to say I didn't get around to stitching anything from it until now. And I think being back at the Still City Stitchers retreat just really made me want to start stitching up all the things. And I also happened to go to my nail appointment and I was not really inspired that time. I didn't know what to get on my nails, and then I decided to get little bees, and they're still on, but my nails are looking a little rough because I'm due for another appointment. So I'll hopefully insert a picture here with my project with my little fun nails here. As soon as I got my nails done with a bee-themed art, I figured what better time to start a bee-themed project. And this one just seems so quick and easy, and it totally was. I finished this in only 4 stitching sessions and honestly didn't put that many hours into it, and I think it looks great. It was fun. I think Primrose Cottage stitches might honestly be becoming one of my favorite designers just because they're so fast and easy to stitch, and they're just fun designs too. I stitched this project with all of the called for DMCs, but the one thing I did change was actually in the little honeycombs here. I don't know if you're able to see it. Let me pull this a little bit closer here. But in the honeycomb here, there were supposed to be little blue hearts instead of the little stars that I did, but I tried to do the hearts, but because this is Aida, it was so hard to pierce the fabric correctly to make that heart shape that I honestly just gave up because they weren't gonna look perfect because the Aida just was not very flexible, and I honestly think it turned out great. I just split them up evenly so every other one has one of those little stars in it. And actually that I was inspired by my prior finish, which was that Nativity Tiny Town, because there were some of these actually in the Nativity, and I was like, what better way just to kind of use that skill, add it to this piece. And honestly, I love the way it looks. I'm super excited to hopefully fully finish this soon. I don't know how I'm gonna fully finish it. If you have any ideas, let me know. But I did get a lot of like fabric for maybe like flat folds, pillows, all kinds of different finishes with my raffle basket that I won this pattern in. So I might try to use some of that with this. We'll see. I have to say, I got a lot more Primrose Cottage patterns in that raffle basket, which are bee themed as well. And I might have to start those very soon because this one I had so much fun. I cannot wait to stitch more from this designer. Okay, so those are my 2 finishes. Now I have a lot of whips to show you. I try to touch as many of my whips as possible at the Steel City Stitchers retreat, so I have a lot of little baby progress to show you here. Some of these are not super impressive what I got done, but my goal was to touch each project for at least an hour. And kind of what I decided to do with one of my stitchy besties, as well as some other women at my table who are awesome, we started this little project where we would set a timer and basically say, for this hour, I'm stitching on this whip, and then as soon as that hour ends, I'll switch to the next whip. And this was just kind of like a little game I actually did at the last retreat, and I was like, it worked so well. I got through so many whips, I got to see progress on everything, and I decided to do it again. And this time I got other people to join me, which made it even better. One reason why I love doing this too is it kind of gamifies the retreat a bit, because as soon as that timer goes off or the hour ends, it's like, okay, now I get to pull out another one, and it kind of keeps the excitement alive as you're switching whips constantly and just being able to work on different projects. For me personally, I kept alternating too if I was working on a linen project or an Aida project, just to kind of keep my eyes surviving the retreat too, because when you're stitching for like about 12 hours a day, it definitely does some damage for headaches, eyes, strain, that kind of thing. So kind of spicing it up with Aida linen, and then also adding in, you know, lunch and dinner in there, it made it such a fun experience to get a lot of stitching progress. But that being said, I touched a lot of projects this month, but I also didn't make a ton of progress on all of them. Hopefully, I will figure out how to pop a picture on the screen on where I was before, and that is what I plan to do. That way you can kind of see where I've added things to, but I'll also try to tell you from what I remember to the best of my abilities as well. So my first whip that I touched at the Steel City Stitchers retreat is actually Madame Chantilly's A Cargo of Eggs. This is my current Easter stitch that I'm working on, and that is what the finished pattern will look like. And when I started this at the Steel City Stitchers retreat, I didn't have much less progress than I have now. But what I did do was right before the retreat, I outlined this entire part of the truck. And then I did that so I could just fill it in mindlessly at the retreat, which was pretty mindless, but I'm sad that a whole hour of progress didn't result in a ton, but it is looking good. I am making progress. There's where I currently am. And my goal by next Easter is not to finish this, to be completely honest with you, but I at least want to make some more progress, at least get more of the front of the truck done, because I think once I get this beast of a truck at least outlined, it's going to go a lot quicker. And I think once I do have more fill-in opportunities, it will just go a lot smoother of a process. But I'm loving the way it looks. I love this fabric. This is a Jody fabric from the Steel City Stitchers with her business Fabrics and Fit. This is a 32 count linen and it's absolutely gorgeous. I think it screams springtime, screams Easter, and hopefully I'll make more progress on this, but I don't know if you'll see this anytime soon because I'm kind of thinking I might put this away until maybe the summertime. We'll see. But right now I'm really into summer stitching. I'm really into stitching Edgar Allan Poe, as you're going to see here in just a little bit. But this is still a project I love, and hopefully once I get out of some of this like block stitching, it'll get my motivation to keep working on it. But that's my little progress. It's still amazing what you can get done in just 1 hour. The next whip that I worked on in my little 1 hour challenge was actually Farming Magic by Flossy Fox Shop. This is one I always pull out at the retreat, even just for an hour, which I did only work on this for an hour in April, which not great. I should be making more progress on this, especially because every time I pull this out, I've been having so much fun on it. But I did make some progress, and I'm actually pleasantly surprised how much I got done on this in just 1 hour. So hopefully I will be putting on the screen what this looked like before. And then now you can kind of see what I added. Basically, last time you saw this in my prior Flosstube, I just finished the bottom of the well here. And then during that 1 hour of stitching at the retreat, I did like the wooden part of the well here and then began the top of the well. Super happy with how this is turning out. It was so much fun to stitch. It may not look like I got a lot done in an hour, but considering how many different colors are in that section, I'm very pleased. I feel like that was pretty good progress, especially compared to the bottom of the well. That thing took me forever, so anything that takes me less than that, honestly, I'm pretty happy with. And this project just is so much fun. I'm hoping to pull this out more this summer. We'll see, but definitely is one I definitely have to dedicate more time to in the future. And this one I am stitching 2/1 with all the called for DMCs on 14 count Zweigart Vintage Ada in the colorway Blue Whisper. It's absolutely beautiful. Again, love this project. Can't wait to pull it out again. Next up, whip number 3 is going to be Ink Circles Arranging for Orchestra. Here's what it'll look like when it's finished. And then hopefully on the screen, I will show you what it looked like before I stitched on it in April. So this one, I have some mixed feelings about. I had a bit of an adventure with this piece and I'm still not sure what to do. So I'll pose that question in just a little bit if you want to comment on it. But basically, Arranging for Orchestra, it's just a beautiful piece. I'm currently stitching it for my fiance because this is a piece he really likes and I cannot wait to finish it for him. And I really wanted to make this like a dedicated piece that I'd work on to finish hopefully by the summer. It's not looking great, I'm gonna be quite frank with you, but that's because I really messed this up at the Steel City Stitchers retreat and I don't know how noticeable it will be. So that's what I'm trying to grapple with now. I feel like this project has just had, unfortunately, a couple problems. So we'll see where we go from here, but here is my progress from the past. And now I think I dedicated at least 1 full hour, maybe a little bit more to this project at the Steel City Stitchers retreat. So here's where my dilemma comes. You may not be able to tell because I think this part looks pretty good, but what happened was when I pulled this out of the retreat, this is on 28 count even weave. That should have been my heads up. Hey, you probably used 2 strands on this. And I thought I used 2 strands because I'm a 2-stranded stitcher for most things because I like my stitches to look super full. And despite that, when I pulled out this project to work at the retreat, I kept looking at it and I was like, am I sure I used 2 strands? Because I even put in a stitch and it looked a little too fluffy, fluffier than my other ones. And I was really confused what was happening there because I normally use 2 strands, especially on 28 count. But then I took a look at, like, I tried to pull apart some of my stitches and like observe it, and it looked like it was 1 strand. It really did. I asked other people at my table, they all thought it looked like 1 strand. So I started stitching with 1 strand to fill in specifically these 2 instruments here. And it looked good in the moment. Like, I feel like they look full enough-ish, but now looking at it, they don't. We'll see what I'm gonna do with that. But once I did go back to the brown, I started stitching with 1 strand again, and I noticed a big difference between the 1 strand of the brown on the outline of the instruments versus the prior ones I did. So I'm pretty sure everything was 2-stranded and I just messed this up and then switched to 1 strand. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be pretty noticeable, especially with the outline of the instruments. And I think especially when I get to the big instruments in the center, like this one, that's going to be more noticeable that I switched to 1 strand. So that's my conundrum. I have a feeling I'm going to just tear everything I did in 1 strand out and start back where I was. But if you think it looks fine, if you've ever done that where you've done maybe like outlines with 2 strands and then the fill-in with 1, let me know how that worked for you. Like, were you able to make peace with it? Because especially as like a perfectionist, I feel like I just can't live with messing this up. I know I definitely have to fix the brown, make that 2-stranded, but like the fill-in, I'm not 100% sure if I should tear it all out and start from scratch again or just keep it 1 strand and just keep filling in with 1 strand. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. I would love to know, but either way, I really gotta make progress on this. Like I said, my goal was the summer. It's not looking great, but this is a piece I really do want to dedicate more time to. I just wish the Stitchy process on this went a lot smoother because I've had a lot of issues from losing the pattern for a couple months to now this. I just want this to be a better project to work on and get done hopefully soon. So let me know what you think about that. If you've mixed up 2 and 1 strand, how did that go for you? I'd love to know your stories in the comments, but that's my progress, which likely I will rip out by our next video, but we will see. Okay. The next thing I worked on was definitely less shameful from my last video. If you watched my last Flosstube episode, you may have heard me talk about this piece, which is Stitchy Prose's Night Owl, which is part of the Night Garden X Stitch the Rainbow collaboration from last market in 2025. But this piece was a sad, sad start in my last Flosstube, and at least now, you know, I'm very happy with my progress on it. It's still not a ton. There's no owl that you're about to see, but I made a lot of progress and I feel like I'm not quite to 50%, but like we're trending that way. If I had to guess, since I don't track my stitching online anyway, I just use paper charts. I'm thinking about 40%, probably 35 to 40% is where I think I'm at. But this, my sad start was so pathetic. I'm not even gonna bore you with what that looked like before. But now we have progress. We have leaves, we have a vine. I actually know which way to hold this now, which I didn't in my last video, so that's good. That's progress. I'm very, very happy with how this is looking, and this is a piece I definitely would love to finish in May. We'll see if that happens, but this is going to be one of my goals for this month, is I really want to get this done, or at least close to a finish, because honestly, this stitched up super quickly. I'm loving how the variegation is looking with the Threadworks thread pack here. I don't know if it's fully picking up on camera, but I really like the way it looks. And I'm stitching this 2/2 with all of the Threadworks threads on a 28 count even weave. I'm not entirely sure which one it is, but it's this lovely light green color, and I'm absolutely obsessed with this fabric. I'm obsessed with threads. I'm obsessed with the pattern. So this is one I really hope to get done very, very soon. And finally, the last whip that I worked on at the Still City Stitches retreat, and the piece that I dedicated the most amount of time to outside of the retreat, is Master of the Macabre, Edgar Allan Poe by the Witchy Stitcher. And I am super excited about my progress here. I'm gonna go ahead and pop up a picture of what it will look like finished. And here's my progress from the past. And now you can see how much I actually finished, which I'm pretty pleased about. It's quite a lot of progress, and I could not be happier that I did his eye. I know a lot of people thought this was really creepy, and at the retreat they literally told me don't prioritize the eye because, like, why would you want Edgar Allan Poe staring at you while you stitch? But I do. I want Edgar Allan Poe staring at me as I stitch. So I had to stitch the eye. That was one of the first things I did after the retreat, was come down here, stitch the eye, so I could just see Poe's face start to come to life. Because I will say, I was starting to get very discouraged up in the hair. The hair fill-in is a bear. It's pretty rough, I'm not gonna lie. It's also currently the only substitution I've made on the threads, because instead of using the DMC 310, I opted to use the black sulky because I just think the coverage is a little bit better. It really pops on this red fabric, and that's why I chose to do that. I also don't know why I decided to use 2 strands of sulky. Maybe not my smartest choice. It's kind of a pain to use, but I have to say the coverage is exactly the way I wanted it, so I can't complain about that. So this is my current progress there. I have to say, at the retreat, I got so excited. My table mates can vouch for me. When I hit his forehead, once I finally finished like some of the hair here and hit forehead, I was like ready to have a party because I was like celebrating hitting a color that was not black in this pattern. But again, I didn't actually end up stitching much of his forehead, just kind of like the line around it. And then I actually had to travel for work for a little bit. So because of that, I prioritized stitching the outside, the outline of his hair here, because I figured with the long trek in the car that I had to have, in case I had some downtime, I figured I would just fill in the stitches and not have to think about it. But I ultimately ended up not having much time in the car because I was too busy talking to my bestie, which worked out. I much would rather talk to her than just be stitching on my lonesome in the car. But I didn't make as much progress on the fill-in as I had anticipated, but that's okay, because that just meant I went over, did the eye instead, and then any downtime I did have on that trip, I did try to add in a little bit more. I know I did this raven during my trip, which was awesome. He's looking good with his little red eye there. And then I also did some fill-in, so probably like this whole chunk I just did in the past week or so as well. But I love him. His eye looks great. I have to say I might go over to do his other eye soon because he just looks so good once his eye is brought to fruition here. And this is definitely currently my passion piece. This is what I want to work on. So you'll probably see this again in my next Flosstube episode. I just can't put this down anymore because I'm just a Poe lover girl. What can I say? So those were all the projects that I worked on. I am super excited about all my progress. Even though some of those pieces didn't see a lot of love, if they at least saw an hour, I'm pretty happy with that. As I've said in past videos, I'm primarily a monogamous stitcher because when I get latched onto a project, I just kind of go hard at it and just try to get it done or get as much done as possible. So at the beginning of the month, that was really the Nativity Tiny Town, then it was Be Nice, and then Edgar Allan Poe stole my heart there. But hopefully in the next month, I'll dabble in some more projects. I know in May too, I'm hoping to do a couple new starts. So as for plans, I don't have a ton of them, but I definitely plan to start Delft House by Hello from Liz Matthews. This is her Patreon chart and it is absolutely gorgeous, and I actually made plans to stitch this with a couple people on Instagram and some of my stitchy friends in real life, and I'm just really excited about this piece. It's definitely a step outside my comfort zone, but it's a beautiful piece and I'm so excited to hopefully work on that in the month of May. As far as other plans go, I don't have a lot of them, but just from right now, vibes only, because again, I don't really like to put too many plans. I already have enough plans as far as like my to be read list, my reading habits, and some of my other crafts and activities that I kind of like to just stitch and craft on whatever I decide to craft on. But I definitely feel like Poe's gonna see some love in May, as well as maybe Farming Magic. I feel drawn to that, but I also might start a couple more pieces in May. I probably shouldn't, but I am tempted because I saw so many amazing pieces at the Still City Stitchers retreat that kind of inspired me, as well as I bought some more patterns, which I really shouldn't have, and got some from the freebie table that I'm already so eager to stitch. So that being said, let's go ahead and get into some Stitchy kindness, some retreat goodies, and then we'll get into my haul that I actually purchased from the Still City Stitchers retreat. So first off, at the Still City Stitchers retreat, every year they tend to give us some kind of a bag and a couple goodies when we register at the door on opening day. And this year their color was white, so that's why my sweatshirt is white here. And they actually gave us a matching white bag, which I really like. I like to use these things for various projects, or even to tote like a couple projects around when I go to stitch nights and things, but definitely always useful to have a nice little bag. And inside it, we got a water bottle, which I drink so much water every single day, so this is perfect. I haven't used it quite yet, but I'm super excited to. I'll probably wash this up right after this video and start filling it up, but I think it's great. It looks amazing. Super excited about this. And then in addition to that, they provided the MJ Studio Create pattern for SCS 2026, a little cross stitch pattern. I love this. Every year I try to stitch these up after the retreat because they're so quick, so simple. They use DMCs, so it couldn't be easier to kit up. And especially being a Pittsburgh girl myself, I love all things Still City Stitchers. I love all their marketing and everything. It's just fabulous. So I'm super excited to stitch this up hopefully someday soon. And then along with that, we also got a coaster, which is a super nice one, which as a beverage girly who loves her water, loves her coffee, loves her tea, literally will drink all of those all day long. A coaster, always very useful. And then last but not least, I also got a little sticker in my package, which I am super excited to use. I haven't showed any like journaling or paper crafting on this channel quite yet, but that's something I'm very passionate about, and I will definitely be using this in my journal where I wrote all about the SCS retreat, about my experience, and this is definitely going in there because I am a sucker for stickers. If I did a sticker haul, we'd be here all day because I just unfortunately buy stickers like they're candy all the time. Love them, I'm obsessed, but I also have that problem where it's hard for me to commit to where to put them. So that's why I started doing some creative journaling, not quite junk journaling, but I like to like, you know, decorate my pages, but actually write about my experiences in my life. So this sticker will definitely be going in there. Next up, I'm going to show you some of the amazing stitchy kindness I received at the Still City Stitchers retreat. I had the best table mates. They are wonderful women. I loved getting to know some new people this year, but I also loved reconnecting with people at my table who I've met before, including my stitchy bestie, who I will tell you about in just a little bit. But I received so many nice little gifts at my table just for being there, and they couldn't be nicer. As for me, what I gave my table mates was something I was actually really insecure about because I was just unsure if they'd want to like travel with them. I was just feeling like it wasn't the best gift, but they all seemed really happy to receive it. And what that was is actually for probably about 2 years now, ever since my first SCS retreat, which this is my third one that I've gone to. So 2 years ago, I started to see these little precious moment statues. I'll hopefully insert a picture here of a precious moment cross stitcher. And as soon as I saw these in antique stores, because I love antiquing, I started to collect them. So over the past 2 years, every single antique store I went, I looked for them, and sometimes I hit the jackpot and found like 3 at a time, but literally it's been a 2-year journey. I eventually got enough for an entire table of stitchers. Like I said, I was feeling a little bit nervous about them, but they seemed to love them. I figured it was something different because I know a lot of times as far as table gifts go, people give like stitching supplies and things. I tried to mix it up, be a little bit different. it seemed to pay off. But even despite me trying to be a little bit unique, I am so thrilled with all the stitching gifts I received from other people at my table, and I just couldn't be more thankful for their companionship, but also all of these goodies that I am about to share with you. I'll just start with the gift that is closest to me here, and that is actually Megan's gift. Megan is this incredible stitcher who actually has over 100 whips, which I was shocked to find out. I don't know how people manage that many whips, but I love it. I love that for her, and I really just wish I could see all of these whips, because like that's incredible to have so many projects you have started, kitted up, worked on, and I'd just love to see her collection someday. But she had probably one of the most useful gifts that I didn't know I needed in my life, and that was actually an LED book light for stitching. And I know I borrowed one of these from another one of my table mates a prior year, because sometimes the lighting in there isn't always the best, especially when working on tiny linen. But I knew from that experience that this is fabulous, and then when I used it myself, it truly exceeded my expectations. This book light is so powerful. It holds such a great charge. It is just a wonderful little light there. And this is actually what I took when I traveled. That way I could work on my project even in darker rooms, even when the lighting wasn't the best, which it really wasn't at the hotel that I was staying in. So this really made me be able to make so much more progress on my Poe project. So absolutely obsessed with this light. I cannot speak more highly about this light. Highly recommend if any of you are looking for a little light. And then also she included it in this little project bag, which, as I said in my last video, I used literally gallon Ziplocs for so long. So anytime I get any kind of project bag, I am enthusiastic. I'm super excited, and I definitely will fill this up with a new project soon. Next up, my Stitchy bestie gave us all these little pencil pouches with all kinds of goodies inside. I think I even removed some at this point, unfortunately, because they were so useful. Like, I know there was a Sharpie in here that I already am using and is part of my everyday stitch kit at this point. But besides that, we also got these little mini embellishments, which are super cute. There's little flowers there, rainbows, paw prints, stars, hearts. Literally so up my alley as somebody who loves all things whimsical and fun. If you've ever used these for various crafts, please let me know in the comments below, because I would love to know more ways to use this, because I love this kind of thing, and I just need to know more crafty ideas. So even if it's not Stitchy related, let me know what you use these types of embellishments for, because I would love to get into some more crafts this summer. And then not only that, but we also got some beautiful DMCs, which I cannot wait to bobbinate and add to my stash. And then this adorable, I think it's a hibiscus little charm, which again, one of the things I want to get into this summer is Decadin, so I got a kit with that, so maybe this could be used with that kind of craft or some other ones that I'm hoping to pursue. But again, let me know in the comments down below if you have any other craft ideas. I would love to know. Next up, the woman who actually got me into cross-stitching, Kathy, gave us these adorable little Lowe's buckets, and she had a little snackle box where we could pick and choose exactly what we wanted, from DMCs to pens to mild liners to candy, and it was something that was such a fun idea, and it was really fun to just pick out the goodies that you wanted. Additionally, she had these amazing little charms with SCS made, and that's just so cool. I might add that to a project bag or a scissor fob, but I am so excited to have this because, like I said before, I love all things SCS merch, so that's super cute. And then, like I said, we got to pick out our own goodies from this snackle box. So mild liner. For this, I picked kind of a boring color to most people, I think, because I actually got the gray color. But the reason why I picked this is because as an office supply girly, as somebody who like loves to journal and has way too many like pens, highlighters, that kind of thing, I have a lot of mild liners in my collection, but I was pretty positive I didn't have a gray one, and I was correct on that. I did check, but that's why I picked this color. I know last year I picked a green one from Kathy's table gift, but this year I knew I wanted to pick a color that I for sure didn't have, even though I was so gravitating towards the beautiful colors like the greens, the blues, the pinks, but I knew I didn't have this one, so that's why I chose the gray. And then she also gave us some Pilot G2s that we could pick from. Again, I have a lot of pens. If you saw my pen collection, maybe if you're interested in seeing that, let me know. I would love to do a walkthrough and maybe like a little swatch test of the pens that I collect, because oh my goodness, if you saw my pen collection, you would be shocked and be like, why do you have so many pens? But I do love Pilot G2s, but I knew I didn't have a yellow one, and yellow is always a color that I'm lacking in my pen collection, just because it's so hard to find one that like shows up on a lot of papers. So I picked this one out because I think it'd be really fun to try. I haven't tried it yet, but after this video, I definitely plan to. This is also probably the color pen I will use to write about the Steel City Stitcher retreat in my journal, because I always like to match the color pen to like what I'm talking about. And seeing as the Steel City Stitchers are black and yellow for Pittsburgh, perfect pen for that. And then also, aside from like candy and other treats, we got to pick out 2 colors of DMC. And so I picked literally my 2 favorite colors right now, which are green and blue, and especially these shades. Like if you saw my winter coat, it is literally this green emerald color. And a lot of the clothes I've been buying recently are that color. And then this blue, this is probably like my ultimate favorite shade of blue. It's so pretty. I don't even know if I have these in my stash or not already, but you never can go wrong with some pretty DMCs. Next up, Kim at my table, who was great reconnecting with her because she's another fellow teacher, and I met her at last year's SCS retreat, so it was really great seeing her again. She actually gave us each 2 Bestitch Me hand-dyed silks, and these are actually my first Bestitch Me silks, and I could not be happier with the colors. You honestly can see a trend here because I just realized the DMCs I pick are very similar. I got a blue and a green of those, a blue and a green of the silks, but I picked them. You can tell I like what I like. It works out well. I don't know exactly which shade this beautiful green is, but there's some blue modeling in there too, which just makes it so pretty. I definitely know a lot of pieces that I would like to stitch have this kind of color in it, so definitely something I hope to use very, very soon, because like I said, never used these silks before, but I'm super excited to try them out. And then the next one I picked actually does have the name on it, which is Bering Sea. And this one's just this gorgeous blue, very sea-like. And like I said in prior videos, I love all things aquatic, so I stitch a lot of aquatic scenes. So these are perfect for a fish, turtle, mermaid kind of stitch. So definitely very happy with the 2 colors I picked from Kim, but super excited to stitch with these hopefully soon. Then I believe this next gift is from Lonnie, who is another new table mate at this year's Steel City Stitchers retreat. She was great to get to know. I hope I get to see her again at the next retreat. And everything she was working on was super tiny, super precise. She was even doing some 1/1 stitching on a tiny count fabric. It looked amazing. I think it's her fault though that I'm now really getting into patriotic stitching. I haven't started any patriotic pieces, but like because of Lonnie, now I kind of want to, because everything she was working on was beautiful and I just loved seeing her progress, and I cannot wait to see when she makes even more progress on the pieces she was working on. But she gave us this little pencil case, and in this one we got some floss drops, which I love these, especially for like the Threadworks ones from the X Stitch the Rainbow, or even like the Cottage Garden Threads ones. I don't like to use bobbins for those, but like these floss drops are perfect, so I will definitely be using those super soon. She gave us some little stitch stickers to kind of mark our title designer fabric threads, which is super cool. I've never seen anything like this before, but these seem super neat. Super excited to have these. Then she also gave us some of the essentials, like a nail file, which I definitely needed this at the retreat because, of course, like doing all that careful work, sometimes it can mess up your nails a little bit. Definitely good to have a nail file on hand, which was very smart to include. A highlighter, and I love how petite this one is. Like, this is fabulous. Like, this is something I could just tuck into my purse, which honestly I probably will do for stitching on the go. And then some needle threaders just to kind of make that process go a little bit better. A needle fluffer here. I don't know if this is proper terminology, but it works. You know what I mean. But just a lot of the essentials and some stickers, which is super cool. So got a lot of goodies, and I'm super excited to have all of this added to my collection. And then last but not least, I had one other person at my table who is Trina. She is an amazing stitcher. I love to see all the projects she was working on. And I have to say, this woman was probably the funniest woman I've ever met in my life. Like, she had me cracking up. I laughed so hard I cried a couple times, unfortunately, but it was just such a good experience. And I really hope she's at my table again at the next Steel City Stitchers Retreat, as all of these women. Like, I truly loved every single one of them. I'm so glad I got to sit with them and just get to know people a lot better at my table this year, and then also reconnect with some old friends. But fabulous experience, 10 out of 10 company. Definitely loved getting to know all of them. But Trina gave us this adorable little miniature kit, which I love miniature things. Like, that's another craft I like to do, is build miniature doll houses, miniature scenes, those kind of things. And so this is just too cute. And in it, we have the tiniest pencil known to man, which is just fabulous. This is perfect for my purse because I do so many Sudoku puzzles on the go. Like, if I'm in a waiting room or something and I'm waiting for a prolonged period of time, I have like a miniature Sudoku book that oftentimes I'll pull out and work on. So this pencil is perfect to go with my mini Sudoku book. So super excited about that. And then we also have another miniature nail file, which again, like I said, super useful, super practical. Also, the fact that it's in a case makes me even more likely to carry this around in my purse because just all the more convenient, protected. Love that. And then we have some very useful DMCs. We got our white and black DMCs here, which is fabulous. Always useful. I think my friend at the stitching retreat actually needed a black or a white at that time. And I was like, we got it in our table gift. So she was able to whip this out and actually use it right then and there, which is super nice, super handy. And I'm always running out of black, especially when I do a lot of like Poe-like stitching and stuff and Halloween stitching. So super excited to have some more of the essentials. And then we also got a chapstick, which is also perfect because one thing about sometimes these stitchy retreats is because we're in a ballroom with a lot of people, the air conditioning is often running, and sometimes it can really make your hands and your lips really dry. I know that's something I always struggle with at retreats, unfortunately, but having some chapstick super is helpful. So those are all the table gifts that we exchanged at my table, but super excited and super grateful for all of these because honestly, I know for a fact I'm going to use all of these goodies, and I'm so excited to try out some things I haven't used and just have some of these nice little useful little miniatures. So super excited about that. Next up, I'm going to share with you guys some other freebies and other stitchy kindness that I got from people who weren't at my table, because I also had some other people walk around and give me and other people at my table some lovely gifts. So the first one is actually from GW Stitching Depot, and they have an Instagram and an Etsy page, so definitely check them out. And they gave us a sample of their bobbin drop, which works like a drop, stores like a bobbin, which is super cute. I don't know if you can see that super well just because it's clear. There we go. But I cannot wait to use this. Always liking to try out different bobbins. And then in addition, we got little samples from All of Them Creative, which you can find on their website, allofthemcreative.com. They do custom laser crafts and 3D printing, and they just have such amazing creations, and I feel like they're always trying to figure out like what stitchers and other crafters need. And so there's tons more crafting things hopefully appearing on the website soon. But he actually gave us some feeling stabby little margin markers. I don't know if that's the proper terminology, but really good to figure out like your 2 inches on your fabrics and also your needle size, which I find very, very helpful. As somebody who struggles to check their fabric to make sure that they've left enough space, enough margin, this is definitely something I plan to use very frequently. Super nice, super handy. And then we got them autographed as well because we just had such a ball talking to the owner and creator and just getting to know him a lot better too. So super cool gift that we received at the retreat. In addition, somebody else who I'm not entirely sure who it was because I don't think I got their name, but they walked around and gave us these adorable little 2026 charms. probably a little hard to see, but we got 3 different colorways of 2026. Something I definitely plan to attach to some of my projects maybe that I do this year, just as a little memory keeper of like when I finished it. But super cute, super thoughtful. I'm sorry I didn't get your name, but thank you so much for this little freebie. Okay. Next up, I have my goodies from People's D-Stash as well as the freebie table. So first off, my Stitchy bestie Bailey gave me so many goodies because she gave me first dibs at what she was de-stashing, things she finished, things she didn't want anymore. And so she gave me a chance to look through it all before she put it on that freebie table. And I had to get some stuff because her and I stitch very similar things. We like the same styles. We even like a lot of the same hobbies and TV shows. So I took a couple things from her D-Stash. So the first of which is this gorgeous Blackbird Designs pattern, Halloween Eve. And I'm super excited to add this to my stash because when I saw this, if you've heard me before, I don't love an alphabet. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna stitch this alphabet up here. But what I do love is everything below the alphabet. So this one would be super easy, especially with like an uncomplicated border like this one, to just kind of chop off that alphabet at the top and just stick to Halloween Eve, the little motifs down here. And I think that that would be plenty. That's a good enough size for me. And I think that's exactly what I'm gonna do with this piece. But I am a sucker for everything Halloween stitching. So I kind of love this little bird motif, this pumpkin, the cat, everything about it is screaming at me. I would love to use some fancy floss for this. So super excited to have this, super excited to stitch up at least that bottom motif. And maybe you'll see this fall. The next pattern I took from Bailey's D-Stash was the Cat Tapestry by Tiny Modernist. This piece I saw her working on at prior Steel City Stitcher retreats, and she actually converted some of these cats to look like her own, which is super cool, something I definitely plan to do as well. And seeing as I saw her stitching on this, I knew I had to take this pattern once she was done with it. Definitely just love the overall aesthetic of this entire piece, and I especially love all the plants. Like I have a monstera at home, so I love this monstera. I love the different plants, the butterflies, the mushroom. It's very much my aesthetic, and I hopefully will stitch this in the future. I also took this little thing, which she got in a subscription book, which this is actually could be used as like a dice tray, which is what I plan to use it for. And it has this adorable little dragon on it. But one thing about me that I don't think I've shared on this channel in the past is I'm really into board gaming. So I actually was thinking of buying like a dice tray or something just to keep the dice from flying everywhere. And so this made it so I don't have to buy one, which absolutely love this. Can't wait to use this and you break it out on my next big game night. And my last little gift that I got from Bailey is actually this project bag for Gilmore Girls. And this is one that I always admired that she had in past retreats because she knows I'm a big Gilmore Girls fan. I finished that show and then I immediately hit rewatch from season 1 all the way to the end. Not a year in the life. We don't rewatch that here in this house, but besides that, we keep rewatching from season 1 to the end of the normal seasons. And I cannot wait to use this project bag. I love me a project bag, and I love that it has the quote on the back. It's a lifestyle, it's a religion. Definitely a classic quote from Gilmore Girls. So definitely will put a project in here soon. Oh my goodness, I feel so spoiled. I have so many freebies, so many gifts, so much to go through, and I still have to go through the haul of what I purchased. But before we get there, I have a couple more freebies that I picked up from the freebie table or that friends of mine picked up for me at the Steel City Stitchers retreat. This is the first year we had an actual freebie table, and oh my goodness, people were putting new stuff there constantly. Like I feel like every hour or every couple hours, there was like a whole new flood of patterns, fabrics, other stitchy notions. Anything you could imagine ended up at this table, which was just so cool, so fun to check out. And I did find a couple gems while at the freebie table. The first thing that I actually got is a fabric, which is super cool. It's this pink 30 count R&R linen in the colorway For the Cure pink. So this was a pretty big piece of linen too. I'm not even unfolding it all, but I thought it was super pretty, super versatile because it's almost like a neutrally pink. I mean, it is definitely pink, but like, I feel like this could actually be useful for a lot of different patterns. And I'll stitch on literally any count, so 30 count doesn't scare me. That seems perfectly fine to me. So definitely something I will use in the future. So I was super excited. This actually came with 2 separate pieces of fabric in the same colorway, and I split this with my friend Bailey. The next pattern my friend Kathy actually picked up for me at the freebie table, and this is by the Trilogy, and it's called Halloween Tree Spooky. And she knows I will stitch everything Halloween, so when she saw this, she immediately thought of me. And it's just so quick and little and tiny, and this is one I definitely will do in the next year because this shouldn't take more than like 2 days max. We'll see if that's actually holds up, but honestly, this seems like it'll be super quick. It's super cute. I love the little ghost. That's just so precious, and the ghost in the pot, super cute. But definitely one I hope to stitch up soon. Super excited to have this in my collection. Kathy also found this pattern for me, which is Joy to the World by Primrose Cottage. And this is one I actually almost bought. I had my eye on this for so long, and this one just happened to be on the freebie table, and I think she knew that I had my eye out for this, so I was so glad when she came back to the table and gave it to me, because now that I finished Nativity Tiny Town, I honestly was eyeing this one up as my next Nativity and Christmas stitch, because again, looks super simple. Who knows if it actually is, but it doesn't look like a ton of stitches. It's only 60 by 51 stitches, so something I probably could finish super quickly. And how cute is it with the actual like stable kind of house-shaped frame there? Definitely something I'd like to work on soon. Very pretty, very cute, super fast stitch, hopefully. And then the last 2 freebies are actually some stitching books that I picked up, which are Precious Moments themed, which these I wasn't sure if I should pick up because I'm definitely not doing every design in these, but both of these books had at least one design that I really would like to do. And the first book is actually this wedding themed Precious Moments book. And this is one that I had to pick up because, especially as somebody who's getting married this coming fall, I figured I might want to actually stitch like a little bridal piece or something like that. And this book just had so many cute designs that I'm super excited to flip through it, pick out what I want to do. I really do like Precious Moments. I love the aesthetic. They're so cute. I've collected them for pretty much my whole life because my grandparents and parents just kept buying them, and we have a nice little collection now, so I figured I might as well pick this up from the freebie table. Same thing with this book. This one's just more generic themed. There's a picture of a little fisher boy on the back, but this one also had some really cute designs that I have some project ideas for the future. We finally made it to the final part of this video, which is the haul, which if you saw my Nashville Needlework Market haul, you know I don't need to buy anymore, but alas, I did. Because as soon as I stepped into that Still City Stitchers retreat, they had an amazing store. In past years, it's been the Crafty U, which I love and adore, but this year we had a new store at the Still City Stitchers retreat, which was Floss and Flame. And oh my goodness, I was afraid they wouldn't be able to hold a light to the Crafty U, but they had an amazing store. I'm going to go ahead and insert a clip right now so you can see what this shopping experience was like, because oh my goodness, it's incredible. It made you want to buy everything because they had so many stitched samples up on the wall, so many amazing pieces, and oh my goodness, the floss walls, incredible. I don't even think one of them is even in my video, but oh my goodness, the flosses. I went ham with buying so many flosses because you know I'm weak for that. And also they had so many brands that I've never seen in person before or in store, so I had to purchase some. So this is my clip of what it was like shopping at the Still City Stitchers as to what was offered at the amazing Floss and Flame store.
It sounds like a joke. My friend, who's like 40 years old, next to the print, he says, you know what? One of my mother's little casket. It would be fantastic. And she was fantastic. Because her mother had a little hard to make. She called it little casket. One of my mom's
So hopefully now that you've seen that clip, you know why I had to buy some things. Like, you can't not. If you walk into that store, you see all the beauties on the wall, you see the flosses, your brain just melts and then you buy it all. Like, unfortunately, it's just something that happens. Like I said, these floss walls, incredible. So many flosses I've never seen in person before. I did buy some that I just narrowly avoided as part of market. So we have the Gentle Art Sampler Threads Kelp. I think this is one of their new shades this year. Lots of different variegation here with the muddy kind of browns, which may not sound gorgeous, but I know this will be useful, which is why I purchased it. Then, you know, I didn't buy that Weeks Dye Works floss pack from Market, but I basically bought the floss pack from Floss and Flame. So here we got 3 new colors of Weeks Dye Works. We have Let Freedom Ring, a beautiful red color there, very vibrant. We have this beautiful purple, which is Catmint. Absolutely love that purple, so beautiful. And then we have Butterfly Kisses, which is this nice little kind of orangey, corally color, but really pretty, very versatile. Thought it could be useful. Never seen Pirate and Robin in store before or in person before. So when I saw this color, you know, I didn't buy them all. I wanted to buy a lot more, but this color, I've never seen anything like it. This vibrant green, I think, is gorgeous. And this is the lime colorway of Pirate Robin. Absolutely gorgeous. And then I'll show you this more properly in a second, but I bought this fabric from Stitch Me, and oh my goodness, look how it pops. It's beautiful. I gotta find something to do on here. If you have ideas, let me know. But I think this was a good purchase because it's beautiful, it's vibrant, it's amazing. These I bought solely because I don't have color and cotton. And if you don't have color and cotton or any kind of floss, but you're trying to build a collection, like, where do you go? Like, honestly, I'm genuinely asking, because that's what I asked my table mates. I was like, if you want to buy floss just to build up a collection, like, what colors do you choose? For me, I opted for my favorite color, blue, because I stitch with a lot of blue, doing a lot of aquatic stuff, and plus these colors just called to me, so I picked up my first color in cottons, and I could not be happier with the colors I selected. I got Moonlight, Witch's Brew, Hunter, Snow Queen, and Stargazing. No idea what I'm gonna do with these, but they're beautiful. I'm happy to finally be able to try out color and cotton, and I have a feeling I'm gonna buy more in the future because they're gorgeous, they're soft, I love them, and the colors are just absolutely gorgeous. Next up, seeing as I bought all these flosses, I had to get some floss drops because like I said, I love trying out different kinds of floss drops. And when I saw these, I saw the sparkles and I knew I had to have them. Look at that sparkly gold. So glistening, so pretty. And these are by Willoughby Ann, and they're called Sue's Drops, and I got the set of 10. And it looks like you can actually purchase these on their website, willowbyann.com, if you're interested. But they had so many cute ones. I think they had like ladybugs, they had other kind, I think they had like a pig one even. They had all kinds of fun floss drops, but as soon as I saw the sparkles, I was like, I need to have that. I also love that it has like a big hole for most of your flosses, and then like for the strands you pulled out, there's a smaller one. I find that super useful because that's exactly how I organize my flosses. And so I definitely plan to use these very, very soon. Next up, let's go to fabric, which I showed restraint. I didn't buy a lot of fabrics on this trip because in prior SCS retreats, I bought a lot of fabric. Because honestly, seeing it in person is so much better than just buying it blind online. So it's okay. I bought a couple, but not too much. This one I bought because I need neutrals. I realized that most of the patterns that I stitch are pretty busy, so bold colors sometimes don't work for those, but that's what I buy because I love color, I love the pretty fabrics, but neutrals are honestly what get used the most, and unfortunately not what I have. So I ended up picking up this Cypress by Fiber on a whim, and this is a 14 count Aida. And especially for Halloween stitching, I just feel like this will be super pretty and super nice for that. Like I said, this is something that I'll actually use, unlike other fabrics I probably buy that are very vibrant. So very practical in my opinion, and I'm excited to maybe put something Halloween-y on here. Next up is that fabric I showed you a little bit earlier, which is this beautiful purple, which is Evil Queen by Bestitch Me. Oh my goodness, I have a couple other Bestitch Me fabrics in my stash, but as soon as I saw this color, I was like, I need to have this. Look how gorgeous that is. And just for the record, once again, let's show that beautiful lime color on it. Absolutely gorgeous. I'm obsessed with this fabric. No idea what I'm gonna put on here. If you've used Evil Queen or a color like this, feel free to share what patterns you've put on this in the comments. I would love to know, but absolutely obsessed. Again, probably good for like a Halloween stitching, maybe a frog for my mother, maybe something else. I don't really know, but very beautiful fabric. Hopefully we'll use this soon because it's just so pretty. The next fabric I purchased is actually for a very specific pattern, but I'm not gonna tell you what that is quite yet for reasons, but here it is. And this is also something that I find very versatile. And this is a fat quarter of 32 count Bluebell linen by Bestitch Me. Again, I'm on a Bestitch Me fangirl kick here. Absolutely gorgeous, love it. We'll definitely do something sky themed or ocean themed on here because it's so beautiful, but also very useful. So I did get a little bit bigger of a piece. I didn't buy many more patterns, which is great, but the two patterns that I bought are Beach Quaker by Primrose Cottage, which, like you've already heard this video, I love Primrose Cottage, and when I saw this release, I knew I had to have it. I don't believe it was available on Top Knot Stitcher when I put in my market order, so that's why it wasn't part of it, but trust me, if it was available on her website, I would have had this a lot sooner. But as soon as I saw this at Floss and Flames pop-up shop at the retreat, I knew I had to have it. It's absolutely gorgeous. This is right up my alley. There's literally a turtle motif front and center. And I love that little seahorse, the boat, the whale, the jellyfish, the fish. Literally everything about this is right up my alley. Very perfect. Cannot wait to stitch this. This is something you'll see very soon because I just love the way this looks. And last but not least, the other pattern I purchased is Little Robin Designs Full Blown Floral. This is one I really had my eye on at market. This is one I kind of regretted not buying because it's absolutely stunning. I haven't seen many people pick this one up, and it does look pretty big, and honestly now that I see what it's stitched with, I'm like, oh no, that is expensive. So it's gonna take a while for me to kit this up. If I am gonna choose to do the MPI silks, I might just try to convert them to DMC and other fancy flosses in my stash, but we'll see about that. I haven't committed to this project how I'm going to do it yet, but as of right now, don't want to pay for all the MPI silks because there's quite a lot. This is quite a big pattern. It's by 199 stitches by 163, so it seems like it's going to be a little bit on the bigger side, so I'm a little scared, but it's so gorgeous and I just love the way these plants look. The flowers are stunning, the colors beautiful. And so this is one I also just decided to pick up. I showed some restraint, even though it doesn't seem like it, I promise. But I'm super excited and super grateful for the experience that I had at the Steel City Stitchers retreat. I'm so thankful for meeting such incredible women there, not just the amazing women at my table, but also other people there as well. It was just all around a good experience, and I love being able to reconnect with some of my besties every single year at this retreat and just be able to see what other people are stitching on, seeing what else the Steel City Stitchers are up to, especially with their new events. Like this year they had a finish table and then also the Steel City Stitchers started a smalls exchange at this past retreat. I didn't participate, but it seemed really, really cool. Maybe next year I'll check it out, but for this year, it just wasn't something I had the time for or the interest in, to be completely honest with you. But after seeing the amazing and cute little gifts and stitches that people did for it, I'm now a little bit more inclined to participate in the future. If you were at the Steel City Stitchers retreat, please let me know down below. And then also let me know if you plan to go next year, because I will definitely be there. I already have it marked on my calendar. I'm ready for it. I'm super excited to see what the Steel City Stitchers have up their sleeves for next year's retreat. I know they already have the dates for that, and I think it's going to be, I believe, the second weekend in April. So super excited about that. And hopefully I will see some of you there next year. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm sorry it's probably a little bit on the longer side, but definitely had a lot to show you guys today, and I'm just super excited to share my passion for stitching with you guys. Definitely hoping to get more regularly scheduled programming on this channel, but for right now, thank you for just bearing with me. I know it's been a little bit of time since my last Flosstube update, but hopefully now I'll be able to be more consistent, especially now that the school year's wrapping up, and as a teacher, hopefully I'll have a little bit more time as summer hits very, very soon. But ultimately, this was my April wrap up, my April Flosstube, and I cannot wait to see you guys at the end of May with all of the progress that I stitched on and created in May. See you guys next time, and remember to stay crafty. Bye, everyone.